Hey, what's up, everybody? Gonna do a classic rock reaction, man. This is Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin, In Through the Outdoor. We're at a song called Carouselambra. And this song, man, just like a hot dog before it, is one of those songs, I guess, that divides Led Zeppelin fans. Some like it, some don't like it, that sort of thing. So already I'm kind of going into this being aware of that fact, and that's okay, man, because for some people, they prefer a certain type of Zeppelin sound, I'm guessing, and others, not so much. So hence the division. But I'm sure that overall the song is going to be pretty good because let's face it, man, Led Zeppelin, whatever they seem to touch seems to turn out at least okay. And, going from there, it's just a matter of okay, great, outstanding. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to like it, man. So let's check this out. Led Zeppelin, Carouselambra. Let's get it. There's the thunder. I really have to strain to comprehend his lyrics here. It seems the synthesizer is just kind of dimming it out a bit. Some heavy synth in this song, man. Check out that shift. This is excellent. Their musicianship is so good. Take out the fruit, but guard the seed. That's a saying that warrants to be. To indulge and enjoy life, but be mindful of the dangers of becoming complacent. This song is about invading armies and not getting conquered. Okay. All right, man. So that was Carouselambra, Led Zeppelin. Oh man. You just can't contain these dudes in a little box, can you? You know? Just when you say to yourself, yeah, you know, I've kind of got the 5 dimensions of Led Zeppelin figured out, they hit you upside the head with something different. This is definitely different. Got a bunch of things to say here, man. How do I sort out my damn thoughts here? Okay, let's start with this. I have heard this song before. I think I've heard it maybe a couple of times before, a long time ago. When I was in my Navy days, wild, drunk, falling down all the time. I was at a couple of parties, and whoever the hosts were, DJs were, whatever, this was on the song list. This was back in the time in the Navy when I was starting out, and I first discovered the Led Zeppelin 2 album. We were RIMPAC. In 1990, we were off the coast of Hawaii, and I've told you guys the story about how I discovered Led Zeppelin 2 when I first listened to Whole Lotta Love. damn, man. I was on top, and we were doing a replenishment at sea, and it was just playing on the loudspeakers. And then going down into the mess hall, I heard the rest of Led Zeppelin 2. This song was on a playlist when we went ashore. We would party, we would be drinking, dancing, doing all kinds of things. Even though I was drunk and stupid, I remember this song. I remember at that time there were a lot of synthesizer type mixes and songs, extended jams where there was a lot of dancing and chilling out and smoking doobs and all of that sort of thing. So this was a part of that party playlist, whoever the host DJ was. And this was in Hawaii, Waikiki. So I remember this song. I, at the time, of course, didn't have as much inclination towards classic rock as I do now. I didn't know who sang it. I didn't know what was being said in the lyrics. I didn't have time. I was partying my ass off. But I remember the beat. I remember people dancing to it. I remember people talking about it and how epic it is and extended jams and that sort of thing. So that memory is fixed in my mind about this tune. And it took, once we got into kind of like the second part with the bridge, it slowed down and then kind of sped up again, and the dancing part, that kicked in the memory. So anyway, man, I remember the song. That's the first thing I'm going to say. The second thing I'm going to say is I don't have the full gist of it. And you know what? I got to do it again. And this time I really have to do it with the lyrics. I got to look at the lyrics to get an idea of what the song is, because I'm not sure what is being said here within the context of the lyrics. There is a message there, but I'm not sure if I'm getting it right. Is it? And I mentioned too that there are some passages about not being complacent, and I think that there may be safeguarding against being invaded and occupied. I have a feeling that it's and I'm thinking about some sort of kind of like a medieval fantasy setting and invading armies and conquering kings and things of that sort of thing. That's the impression I'm getting from what I can pick up. That's what I'm going to say. The synthesizers are louder than the lyrics. The lyrics you can barely make out. I can't understand what Robert is singing most of the time here, and that's a little bit frustrating. Maybe, I don't know, did they plan it like that? I don't know. But that's the big thing about the song. If I'm going to critique something, that's the big thing about it for me. And maybe that's the element about this song that divides so many fans of Led Zeppelin. I'm guessing that's what it is. The other thing too is the heavy synthesizer use here is more dominant than even the guitar. And Led Zeppelin, of course, to their bare bones, just like stripes are to a tiger, is known by their nature being a heavy guitar-driven band. And so to have the synthesizer so dominant, mind you, hey, fantastic musicianship there, great playing on the part of John Paul Jones. This is definitely his song, and he's shining here. But it threw me off a little bit because the nature of the beast is a heavy guitar-driven sound. And it's in a way almost, I'm not going to go as extreme as saying that it's putting the cart before the horse, but it is very unusual. No judgment, just an observation. Because there's going to be some of you that just love the hell out of the song, and you might not like how I'm addressing and packaging it. But anyway, hey, overall, I like the song. It's a good song. I really like it. I can see why some people might not like it, and I'm guessing it's because of the lyrics of Robert Plant. It's a frustrating element. You can't understand him. Also, too, because there's heavy synthesizers driving the song. Maybe it's a little bit too long for some people, and maybe it's broken up in so many parts it kind of switches out, it changes direction, it slows down, speeds up. So there's a whole myriad of things that probably divides Led Zeppelin fans about this song. It would be interesting to be in a giant room and having people discuss this song, likes, dislikes, why they don't why they don't like it, things of that nature. That'd be very, very interesting. What I find interesting about Led Zeppelin is the fan base themselves. The fan base of Led Zeppelin is just as intriguing to me as the damn band themselves, because there's just now so many albums in. I've observed that there are different types of Led Zeppelin fans, different motivations, different parts of their musicianship, their playing, their timing, the sequence of their albums that divides a number of Led Zeppelin fans. And you are as diverse as the sands and the pebbles on a damn beach. So, I mean, you know, here's a good example. I once asked a question. I actually asked two questions, and this was both on the Led Zeppelin 4 album. The first one I asked was, I believe it was Rock and Roll, the reaction. Give me your top 10 Led Zeppelin songs. Oh my God. And the response from that was like, first off, you dumbass. Excuse my throat. You dumbass. How could you even think to possibly ask for a top 10 Led Zeppelin song? What the hell is wrong with you? That was the response that I got from a lot of people. I was like, yo. And at the same time, some were gracious enough to say, you know what, you're still a tadpole and you don't understand shit about Led Zeppelin, so I will give you a pass. That was the first question. And then I got to Misty Mountain Hop, and I shared a personal story, and something really, really serious happened to me in my walk with Led Zeppelin, and I had an encounter with this really, really, really intense woman who was really judgmental of me and really challenging me, at the same time insulting my intelligence and the intelligence of all of my subscribers. And yo, she was just, she really, really attacked me. And so I asked the question of the subscriber base when I did Misty Mountain Hop, specifically Christians and believers. I asked, how are you prepared to answer to someone who boldly challenges you, challenges your faith, judges you, uses, in this case, she was using the Christian platform as a judging tool to manipulate, to shame, and all of these. So I asked that question: how are you going to address someone who comes at you like this, if you're a believer or a Christian who likes rock and roll? And the response, man. Now, this time I didn't get called dumbass and all that, but the response was just overwhelming. And I believe that's the Led Zeppelin reaction, aside from Since I've Been Loving You, that has the most comments, the most views, the most comments. Now I'm back on YouTube, so I believe, yes, I did actually, it did make it back onto YouTube, so it's in the Led Zeppelin playlist. Go and check out that reaction and that question. Anyways, so my point is, Led Zeppelin fans are very, very, very diverse. They're divided, and they're very, very diverse about how they feel about certain songs, how they feel about Led Zeppelin, their point of view. They've got a lot to say. So my point being is that I find you, the Led Zeppelin fan, just as intriguing as the band. And here's a daydream I'll share with you. I visualize us all in a gigantic room talking about this song. Why you like it, why you don't, what this song means. And here's what I'm talking about. At the time, Led Zeppelin, In Through the Outdoor, they were just on the cusp of reaching the 80s. I believe this was in 78, Was it released in 79? So the late 70s, entering into a new era of the 80s and a new sound. My first question to a lot of you would be, do you believe that Led Zeppelin was aware of the coming changes, the coming challenges, making that transition from classic rock moving forward, and they knew that their sound was going to be changed? They looked around them, and now newer bands were on the horizon. The Cars were there, Aerosmith, Van Halen. So a lot of these newer bands were there. So they knew obviously that their sound had to change for them to be somewhat relevant. I imagine that we probably all agree about that. And then, what else would I ask you? I would ask, do you think the reason why this song is so different is because they were experimenting, knowing with the forecast of what was coming ahead that they had to maybe change up a little bit, and that they were looking forward to the opportunity? They took the opportunity, took a chance to change things up. First off, because they can. They're that good, they're that talented. But also, I think that they probably saw the winds of change ahead, and they were forward looking, and they said, let's do some things here. But here's another interesting question too. John Paul Jones. This is his song, man. Heavily Driven. Because of what they were going through at the time, Plant was still recovering. Bonham was drinking excessively. Page was had his addictions. So maybe John Paul Jones saw this as an opportunity, not in a undermining way, but saw this as an opportunity for him to shine. Because let's face it, he is the quiet one. His light does not shine so bright as the other three. Within a group setting, there's always the quiet one. There's always the one who is kind of like more in the background. He's just as great, just as talented, just as relevant as all the others. But you've got your bass, and then you've got your stars, right? So maybe he saw this as an opportunity to really excel, to make a mark, to do something with this opportunity, with this album, to make his personal mark on it. What do you think of that? Do you think that this was more so coming from John Paul Jones? Obviously, with the synthesizer being the dominant element, I'm inclined to believe that. So what I'm looking for ultimately from you guys is a little bit of background, a little foundation for my ideas here. What was happening with them? Do you believe specifically this song was the result of the coming times changing, their desire to do something different? John Paul Jones may be wanting to make a mark for himself, and all of the other things. I'm just throwing a whole bunch of things out there. So get back to me about that. It'll be really, really interesting to hear what a lot of you have to say. One thing I'm going to say, strong and sure, is that this song is not as bad as what a lot of you have led me to believe that it would be. Some of you had drawn comparisons to the Crunch. Oh, just like the Crunch, you're not going to like this at all. Well, there are some things about the Crunch that I do like, so it isn't a song that I hate. But it's a song that I would skip, This song, I would not skip. I like this song more than I like the Crunch. It's not their very best, but it's not a bad song. So I've read some of your comments beforehand. Oh, I don't know what the hell they were thinking when they did this. Well, let's talk about that. Maybe they were thinking that, let's try something different. Let's see what we will sound like going forward. First time might not be the charm, but maybe the second and the third time will be the charm. But sadly, the second and the third chance did not come because John Bonham passed. But this might be a feel for what they might have sounded like going into the 80s. And you know what? this is a decent sampling. It's not that bad. They would certainly have an audience for it, and an audience that understands why they're making a transition, why they're making a change. I believe that if this song is kind of like a forecast of what was to come, I think that they would have had a very, very successful 80s career. Certainly different from the 70s, but look, right now I'm doing Artist of the Month with ZZ Top. They had a successful 70s career, and they had a magnificently successful 80s career. And so we understand and accept the fact that the times changed and they changed as well. Same with Fleetwood Mac, so I think that if this is a sampling of the changes to come, they would have been very successful going into the 80s. Now, like I said, this was maybe their first attempt, maybe not the jewel, but if they had a few more chances to grow and to build on this, they would have come out with something really magnificent, and they would have probably had a fantastic and successful career going into the 80s. That's how I feel. Where talent goes, the ability to create on a consistent basis, it just can't be denied. And a lot of the times, maybe changing times might diminish that, might completely sideline you. But in Led Zeppelin's case, I don't think so. I think that if John hadn't passed, he would have conquered his demon. Same with Jimmy. Obviously he did. And I think that they would have maybe taken some time off and then come back together again. Because let's face it, their ability to make such fantastic music is in the fiber of their core. Whatever differences they might have had, it with time would have melted away. They would have come back unified together because they had such a fantastic ability to create a magnificent sound. The four of them, they knew that, right? And I think that that is how they would go into the 80s. I don't know if they would dominate, but they would certainly have the audience. I mean, listen to this song. The thunder was there, the great guitar and the musicianship. The only thing that wasn't present was Plant's signature great singing. So I really have to get into the lyrics of this, get the message behind it. That was the only big thing about this song that was missing, and the fact that it's really different. Anyway, listen, man, hey, I could talk forever about this, as you can tell, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to do a quick background on this song here, and then go from there. I don't want this reaction to go over an hour. So, man, let's do a little read here. Okay. Yeah, there's there's a couple of paragraphs here. So, Carouselambra. Carouselambra is the fifth song on Led Zeppelin's '79 album In Through the Outdoor. The title refers to the first section of the song that has similarities to carousel music. At more than 10 minutes in length, the song is the second longest the band recorded in the studio. John Paul Jones's synthesizers dominate the song, with Jimmy Page's guitar playing a supporting role. That threw me the hell right off right there, man. I bet you that is the reason right there a lot of people don't like this. Composition and recording. This section needs additional citation for verification. Okay, so, and it's saying that there's unsourced material and it could be challenged or removed. So, okay. And it's just giving us the source of its information here. All right, April 2019. All right, so let's roll down. Okay, with its early working title of the epic, Carouselambra was conceived during the band's rehearsals at Clearwell Castle in May of '78. The song itself is split in three sections. The first section is a fast-paced showcase of Jones on synthesizer. He overdubbed bass guitar or already recorded it as part of the backing track, with Robert Plant's vocals mixed down slightly underneath Jones. Okay, it was deliberate. The drums of John Bonham and Page's guitar chord progression. Why did they? Was it just one of those things of the times? to downplay the vocals and enhance the musicianship a little bit more. I think maybe they were just mixing things up with the trend. Yeah, no, Plant's vocals has to be forefront just as much as Page's guitar. The second section is much slower in pace, highlighting Page's use of the Gibson EDS 1275 double neck guitar, the only time he used that instrument on a Led Zeppelin studio song, while Plant sings some reflective lyrics. The final section returns to an up-tempo beat with all four band members performing in unison. Page's deep, droning guitar sound was produced with a gizmotron, a device that creates infinite sustained, unusual harmonics and allows the guitar to sound like a string section. Alright. Reception. In a contemporary review for In Through the Outdoor, Charles M. Young of Rolling Stone described Carouselambra as having an extremely lame keyboard riff, and said the song was too long, clocking in at an absurd 10 minutes and 28 seconds. Rolling Stone, you can never disappoint. Young also called the song extremely repetitive, and while repetition to weave a hypnotic effect has always been part of the Zeppelin sound, what they are repeating here is not worth the effort. Okay. I believe that they were experimenting with the synthesizer-driven dance tracks, the dance track movement, all of that sort of thing. I think that they were experimenting here. So I can understand why he doesn't understand what the hell that they were doing and what they were trying to do. But I'm just guessing myself. In a retrospective review of In Through the Outdoor Deluxe Edition, Andrew Duskus of Pop Matters gave Carouselambra a negative review, calling the song something you would hear from either Styx or Genesis and not Zeppelin. And again, I think that changing times looking ahead, that's what they were messing with. I really believe that. Duskus found Plant mumbling inaudible inanities for about 60% of the song. While Duskus found the song's synthesizers catchy, he found that Zeppelin fans will find it hard not to skip over Carouselambra after the 4-minute mark, in favor of the final two tracks. What do you think of that? Do you typically skip over this song? Let me know about that. And in favor of the final two songs. So the final two songs, I guess in his opinion, are much better than this one. On the deluxe edition, Duskus found Plant's vocals on Carouselambra, a rough mix titled The Epic, much more clear than the original version. Okay, I'm gonna have to listen to The Epic as well. Let me know if I should do a reaction to that. If not, I'll just listen to it on my own time. Live renditions. Carouselambra was never played live by the band at Led Zeppelin concerts. This song was originally intended by Jones to be the centerpiece of their live shows and was planned to be performed during their US tour in 1980, but the death of John Bonham prevented that from happening. See, I really believe that that's what they were wanting to enter into the 80s sounding like. I really believe that. Let me read that again. Where the hell was I? Yeah, this song was originally intended by Jones to be the centerpiece of their live shows and was planned to be performed during their US tour in 1980. Yeah, I think that they knew how their sound was going to be going forward, and this was probably a first cut draft experimentation of how they were going to sound. I believe that. Let me know if I'm wrong. During the 95 to 96 season, Page and Plant tour, during the 95 to 96 Page and Plant tour, Plant would often sing the middle verse of the song when he and Page performed in the evening. Okay. I remember that, and I remember saying that it sounds familiar. That's what it was, because I'd heard this song before. The Epic. A rough mix of the song with fewer overdubs was re-released in 2015 on In Through the Outdoor, the Deluxe Edition, with the title The Epic. Okay. Okay, I'll definitely check out the Epic. So anyway, man, that is my reaction and thoughts, lots and lots of thoughts to this song. I like this song very much. This song also in the mix of a party with a couple of my different friends, because I've got friends, man, ranging from people who love metal to rock, classic rock. Of course, my ganja smoking friends from Jamaica. I got, my R&B friend. I got friends all over the place. I got friends who only listen to Dwight Yoakam. So if all of my friends are together in one room and this song is playing, I see this as a great song to kind of fuse everybody together. There will be something for everyone from this particular song, and that's, I think, again, going back, I think that this is what they were looking at doing, trying to maybe form a middle ground appeal for a lot of people, and seeing ahead like the MTV and all of these different things coming their way. I think that this was a plan for how they were going to go into the 80s. Let me know. I'm not seeing anything to throw me into a different train of thought otherwise. Okay, man, so that is my reaction to this great song. And forgive me, I don't know what the other track is following this one, but I'll definitely jump on that. I'm forming a pattern with Led Zeppelin to do it every Friday or Saturday, taking us into the weekend. So definitely next weekend I'll be hitting the other track, man. Still enjoying the Led Zeppelin walk, still enjoying the journey. The rabbit hole has many dimensions, and I've just entered another one. So yeah, this, where my reaction channel is concerned, man, I tell you, if you had told me when I first started that I would be engaged in such an odyssey, I don't know what I would have said to you, but, and especially being Led Zeppelin with my preconceived, I know what they're all about. I've heard their 5 songs. Come on, man. So here I am a year and a half later, still not through their studio stuff, and still have a lot of stuff left to go. So where reactions to Led Zeppelin are concerned, where it comes to this pace that I'm at, I'm guessing that within another year, I should perhaps be complete. I should perhaps complete all of the Led Zeppelin stuff. And then from there, it's going on to the Page stuff and the Plant stuff, and maybe some of their live cuts. How the West, was it How the West was one? And then there's the, there's a whole bunch of different live stuff. You know what I'm talking about. So there's a lot to do where Led Zeppelin is concerned. So I think I've got another couple of years with them. Basically, that's what I'm saying. But so far, man, I'm still in awe by them. I'm still, I appreciate their musicianship. Still, I can understand why some of you are fanatical fans of them. They're a wonder to behold, I gotta say, and they're in a category and a group all to themselves. That's what I'll say. I'm not going to say they're the greatest and they're the best, because there's so much classic rock that I've yet to discover, but I'm gonna say that they're really special and they're in a category all their own. And I understand the fan base, and I understand the fanaticism for some of you. I have a friend, my buddy Paul, is a fanatic, and he still hasn't forgiven me for the crunch. But hey, man, I totally understand, respect, and appreciate what Led Zeppelin has done for modern music. And I can't help but wonder what it would have been like had John not passed, and if they had entered into the 80s. I think that to a certain extent, I don't know if they would have dominated, but they would certainly have had a great following. And again, in a very unique and special corner of music of the 80s. I think that they would have been a very strong force. Anyway, so that's it. All right, man. Yeah, and I don't have any other notes, man. Just basically what I said. I'm going to hit Led Zeppelin next week. So you guys have yourselves a good week. Forgive me for my rambling. I had a lot to say about this song. I felt it. I knew that I would have a lot to say. And, you know, I still visualize us having this discussion thing and talking about it. I think that line up 100 Led Zeppelin fans, everyone would have something different to say about this song. That's the wonder of Led Zeppelin, and that's how damn good they were. You know, their ghost still haunts us till this day. Anyways, you guys have a good one, and I'll catch you in my next Zeppelin reaction. Peace.